Russell Brand, if you're unfamiliar, he's a comedian that turned right-wing the moment that accusations of taking advantage of people, if you will, surfaced. Kind of interesting that the Republican Party seems to serve as a safe haven for all of the lists and and harassers, right? That's kind of odd. Anyway, I understand that he's been indicted and he's going to go through the whole criminal trial now, and he's responded to it.
Hello. Firstly, thank you for these incredible and overwhelming messages of support. We're very fortunate in a way to live in a time where there's so little trust in the British government. We're very fortunate, I suppose, that this is happening at a time where we know that the law has become a kind of weapon to be used against people.
This is disgusting, dude, honestly. You're going this route, you're being lied about and all of this. There are multiple accusers and multiple instances, like over the course of 10 years or something. I think this happened like 3 or 4 times. We're going to talk about it in a second. And the moment these allegations start coming out, he says he gives himself to Jesus. Gives himself to Jesus, and he's had a right-wing awakening. This is the last safe haven for sexual assaulters. This is what they always do. If Harvey Weinstein got out of jail tomorrow, he would be a Republican. I don't know what he is, but he would be. By the way, the algorithm is hitting me hard right now, completely ignoring me. So I'd appreciate if you watch to the end of the video. Having increased watch time as a percentage and a raw number is what pushes the video further. Also check out my books, owenmorgan.com. All right, back to the video.
People, institutions, and sometimes entire nations that will not accept and tolerate levels of corruption that are unprecedented. I'm speaking particularly to those of you that are watching this in the UK. How do you feel about your legal system right now? How do you feel about some of the high-profile cases that are not being pursued and prosecuted? How do you feel that the Southport murders were handled? How do you feel about the government of Keir Starmer?
I'm not sure which specific things he's referring to, but the Muslim immigration situation in the UK is a massive culture war issue right now. Like Republicans, equivalents there, conservatives, the Tories, are hyper focused on Muslims being destructive to society and everything else. And you know, I don't like Islam. I don't believe in Islam. I think Islam is destructive as well. But there's a line where it crosses from criticizing the religious tenets and practices, when it crosses from that into full-blown, hateful, vile, racist, bigoted nonsense. And the British government and the the Conservative Party there and everything have very clearly crossed that line. They crossed it a long time ago. So I don't know what specific things he's referring to, but considering the fact that Muslims are the Mexicans of the UK, I would assume that it has something to do with that, if I had to guess.
Now that's just sort of general context. Me, I've always told you guys that when I was young and single, before I had my wife and family, we're just out of shot over there, my beautiful children, I was a fool, man. I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord. I was a drug addict, a sex addict, and an imbecile. But what I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes.
Oh my God, he's so transparently full of...
Thank all of you for your continuing support. I want to let you know that our show will be on Rumble on Monday. Thanks for your support there.
Okay, anyway, he's just shouting his out now, but he actually addressed this previously too, because this whole thing has been following him for a while, and the last time it really blew up, that's when he converted to Christianity and all of that, became a right-winger and all that. But let's listen to this kind of breakdown of what's happening on CBS, I believe, and then we'll listen to his response previously.
Well, actor and comedian Russel Brand has been charged with rape and sexual assault, according to Britain's Crown Prosecution Service. You might know Brand from films like Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Get Him to the Greek.
Get Him to the Greek is the one that I heard about him in first.
Brand has denied the allegations, saying all of his relationships have been consensual. NBC News correspondent Danielle Hamiamjian joins us now from London. Danielle, these charges are the result of an investigation into Brand that began back in 2023. Tell us more about these allegations.
Yeah, Vicky, police began that investigation in 2023 following a report by the UK's Channel 4 and the leading newspapers here, the Sunday Times and the Times of London, into Russell Brand's treatment of women. After that, police say they started receiving a number of allegations. Fast forward a year and a half, and the accusations against Brand, who is now 50 years old, relate to alleged historical offenses against 4 separate women between 1999 and 2005.
That sounds like a serial abuser to me. I mean, I don't know the situation, obviously, but that's what it looks like.
The comedian and actor has now been charged with 1 count of rape, 1 count of oral rape, 2 counts of sexual assault, and 1 count of indecent assault. Police say the alleged offenses took place both here in London and in a place called Bournemouth, which is on the south coast of England. The CPS, the Crown Prosecutor Service, said they carefully reviewed all the evidence and came to the conclusion that indeed Russell Brand should be charged with those offenses.
Wow, man, that is absolutely nuts. I mean, it seems pretty dead to rights. They don't usually bring this shit up. They don't usually charge people like this unless, certainly not later, and certainly not if they're famous. I safely assume that he is guilty of this. Just based on what I've seen with his personality and the things that he said and done, the way he defends himself, the way that he moved to Christianity, like, when this started coming up, yeah, I'm thinking he's probably guilty, but I guess time will tell. But keep listening here, see what else they have to say.
It took a long time for these charges in this investigation to come to light. What are we hearing from Brand or his attorneys today?
Well, Brand has had quite the journey. He's talked a lot about his wilder days, his sex addiction, drug addiction, and in recent years, his conversion to Christianity.
Conveniently, right when this all started.
His embrace of populism. He's now a right-wing wellness influencer. He posted just in the past hour or so a video on his Instagram. He appears to be on a beach somewhere. He starts talking about politics, but eventually addresses the charges against him. Take a listen.
I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord. I was a drug addict.
This is so transparently like scumbag. Like, it's so obvious what he's doing here, right?
Addict and an imbecile. But what I never was a rapist. I've never engaged in non-consensual activity. I pray that you can see that by looking in my eyes.
And Brand says he looks forward to defending himself in court, and that day will come soon here in central London on May the 2nd. Vicky?
All right, Danielle Hamamjian, thank you very much.
Anyway, yeah. Wow, that's absolutely nuts. In addition to that, I just wanted to take a quick glance at the video that he put out when this came up previously.
Hello there, you Awakening Wonders. Now, this isn't the usual type of video we make on this channel where we critique, attack, and undermine the news in all its corruption, because in this story, I am the news. I've received 2 extremely disturbing letters, or a letter and an email, one from a mainstream media TV company, one from a newspaper, listing a litany of extremely egregious and aggressive attacks, as well as some pretty stupid stuff, like my community festival should be stopped, that I shouldn't be able to attack mainstream media narratives on this channel. But amidst this...
So he's saying that a newspaper wrote a letter to him saying that he should not be allowed to attack mainstream media on his Rumble channel. Is that what you're telling me? Are you saying that's what was in the letter? Let's see it then. He is so transparently full of...
of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies, and as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always...
Wow, that was weird. There's a jump cut there. Did you see that?
Always consensual.
Why was there a jump cut between the word always and consensual? It seems like that's the one place that you don't want a jump cut to be.
I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, Is there another agenda at play?
Okay, yeah. The deep state is after you. They're trying to get one over on you. Yeah, totally. It is so transparent. It's such a joke, man. Anyway, like, if he did this, I want him to go away for the rest of his life. I mean, I want to see consequences if he did this. And I appreciate that we're seeing charges. Unfortunately, when you're rich and famous, you don't face consequences for your actions. You just don't. Tell me what you think in the comments.